Tell me about yourself.
I don't understand.
Keep watching to learn about why interviewers ask this, what not to say, and 7 simple steps to give an awesome answer. Hey, it's Mike from Job Ready English, coaching students and professionals into top jobs at world famous companies since 2013. Welcome to the new Awesome Answer series, where we break down how to answer common interview questions. Want more videos like this? Hit subscribe, press that like button, and drop us a comment down below and let us know what question that you'd like us to cover next. What do you think about when someone says, "Tell me about yourself"? Do you think... Never fear. By the end of this video, you're going to know, why do you get asked this? What shouldn't you say? I'm going to take you through a great example, and I'm going to break it down into 7 simple steps to answer this question. Plus, there's a worksheet down below in the description, and you can go and download that now for free and work through and get your answer together as we walk through this video. Why do they ask this? I mean, didn't you read my CV? Don't you know who I am? Here's a pro tip. They don't. Because when you're going to get asked this question, it's either going to be on a video interview, say HireVue or Spark Hire, so it's just automatic, or your interviewer has probably just done 7 other interviews, has been rushing about and doing all their other work, and then finally they've got on the phone, or they're sitting across from you face to face, and for them, actually, tell me about yourself is just a way of saying, I really don't know who you are, I haven't had a chance to look at your CV, and also it's a really quick way to judge 3 things. What do you think is important? How can you help us? And how can you communicate? Now, not only have I helped hundreds of clients prepare for this question from some of the world's biggest and best companies, but I've also done a lot of hiring myself, both as a COO and also just working in management for 10 years. It's not something I've ever really spoken about on this channel. So I know why I asked this question, and here's a pro tip. Whenever you think about preparing an answer for this question, imagine that the interviewer is a stranger, knows nothing about you, hasn't read your CV, and it's basically like you're meeting for the first time. That's a really useful way to look at answering this question. So when they ask, tell me about yourself, what they're really saying is, give me the parts that are relevant to me. Tell me about your professional life, your academic life, your skills and interests that I'm going to find most interesting for this job. I don't need to tell you, don't tell them your life story. Don't tell them about the drama for the weekend or a club that you've just been to BT. Not your entire life story. Not about the breakup you've just been through, the club you went to last weekend, or what you think is really interesting in the news today. We don't want to hear it. Another pro tip. A lot of interview questions are the same, but they're asked in a different way, but you can still use the same answer. For example, tell me about yourself could be, introduce yourself. Why should we choose you? What makes you different from other candidates? Sometimes I'll see people try to prepare slightly different answers. The same answer is fine. On to part 2. What don't we want to say? What are the pitfalls that we want to avoid? Well, for me, having listened to these answers over the years, there are 4 of them. Number 1, personal information. Hi, my name's Mike. I'm 34 years old, and originally I am from the UK, though my mum is from Vietnam and my dad is from Sri Lanka, and I currently live in war. Sometimes when people introduce themselves, they feel like they're actually having to give me a biography of their life. You don't need to do that. We're going to cover this in the example. Literally all I want to hear is just your name. Hi, I'm Mike. That'll do. The rest isn't particularly relevant or interesting right now. We can have that conversation later. Number 2, just selling yourself. Hi, my name is Mike. I'm so excited to be here. I'm really looking forward to working at your company because I think it's a great opportunity for me. There are so many things that I can do. I've studied all of these modules at university. I just think that I'm going to be a great fit for your company. Whenever somebody is trying too hard, it is an instant turn off. Desperation is never sexy, and definitely not in a job interview. Ultimately, as an interviewer, I'm here to judge that. I'm here to judge whether you're a good fit. You saying, please give me a job, I'm a good fit, I have great skills, is not going to go down well. There is a difference between confidence and communication and just plain arrogance. Number 3, vague answers with specifics. Hi, my name is Mike. So I'm a graduate. I've recently just finished university, and I'm looking for a job at a great company. And I think that this would be a good fit because you're doing like lots of stuff that's mathsy, and I really enjoy maths. Vague answers that are fumbling and without specifics are just boring. And also, though that may not be the case, they can really come across as somebody who basically just isn't that interested in the role. The amount of times that when I've run businesses and I've actually run candidates and said, oh, you've applied to XYZ role at my company or a company that I'm running, saying, sorry, what role is that? Oh, I'm so sorry. I've applied for so many different roles. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. And I'm just like, well, that's not filling me with a massive amount of confidence. I mean, I understand, but really the more specific that you can be, the better. And also it just says to me that you're not really prepared. The 4th and final thing that we're looking at is just rambling answers that are besides the point. For example, hi, my name's Mike. I've just graduated with a sociology degree from Warwick University. I don't know if you've ever been to Warwick University. It's so fantastic and I really miss it. It's just like this little city that you live in, and I really enjoyed it. I was there for 3 years and I studied so many different things, and I really just thought, wow, sociology is so important to everything that we do in our life, and also the history and where we come from. You might think this doesn't happen a lot. It happens all the time. Basically, when a candidate doesn't have a structure or a format that they follow, they tend to just go what I call the "oh, look a bird" syndrome. So they just kind of just jump from point to point, and they end up so far away from the fact that I really just wanted you to give me a really crisp and concise summary that I've already turned off. And the most important thing, why are these 4 things important to know before going through the steps? Because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And to me, that's really true. Having held a lot of interviews, not just to help clients, but also to brief candidates, whether that be for the managers who were working for me or when I was scaling a business and trying to get initial candidates into the business, I just thought, if you start off badly, I'm always just going to have that reservation about you and just think, yeah, not so much. So you want to go in hot and impress straight off the bat. And then if anything, feel free to tail off at the end. So this is a crucial question to get right. So I'm just really curious, and I saw this in another video, and I thought it was such a great question from Madeline McMahon over at Self-Made Millennial. And she said, do you tend to say too little or too much? I'm really intrigued about that. I tend to say too much. Drop an answer in the comments below and let us know. On to part 3. Let's talk about 7 simple steps to the perfect answer. Now, don't forget, in the description below is a link to a free worksheet. I know that students find worksheets so helpful, where it breaks everything down, and also there is an additional example in that worksheet so you can go through and fill in all the steps with me. So first of all, I want to talk about something which I haven't really heard anybody else cover, and that is the constraints to what makes a great answer, and I mean about time and length. So generally, whenever I'm preparing clients, I like them to speak for about 2 minutes. I find that that's a good chunk of time. You might have to go shorter or go longer, but generally 2 minutes seems to be good. And if you're thinking about how many words that is, it's about 200 to 250 words when you're writing out an intro. Shorter than that, you'll probably run around under a minute. Longer than that, you're probably going to have written too much. But that's a rough guideline. Everybody is different. So what I want to do now is I'm going to read through an example that I tend to give to clients that one of my clients, I should say, used many years ago, and I just really loved it, and I've kept it and used it over and over again. It's about 220 words and runs to just under a minute and a half. So have a listen, let me know what you think, and then we're going to break this down in the 7 steps. Hi, my name's Susan, and I'm currently studying a postgraduate degree in biochemistry at Dundee University. I'm originally from China and studied chemistry at Nanjing University, where I finished 3rd in my class. I won several scholarships for my academic results. I'm keen to work in a pharmaceutical company like GlaxoSmithKline because I want to be at the cutting edge of research and develop my skills for designing and testing new drugs. Plus, I think drug design is a great way to help so many people improve their health. I interned at 2 large Chinese drug manufacturers They're mainly working in sales and marketing to help companies brand and sell their products straight to market. This was a great opportunity for me to learn how Big Pharma works and talk directly with clients. Also, I learned how to work and communicate as the member of a large team. During my time in China, I was part of a local dance team. We won several awards in our competitions at school. I have played badminton since I was a young girl. I enjoy the exercise and the adrenaline, as well as the competitive nature of the sport. I also played the guzheng, which is an ancient Chinese plucking instrument, and I am a grade 8. Let's break that down into 7 steps and think back to our pro tip that we covered before. Namely, assume they never read your CV and they know nothing about you before they ask this question. In the worksheet, there is another example for each step if you need some inspiration. So let's go through it. Step 1, what are you doing now? This is a short sentence to give context as to you right now, i.e. your name, what year are you in? Are you in your first year? Have you just graduated? Have you been, working already? Then what did you study and where? Hi, my name's Susan. I'm currently studying a postgraduate degree in biochem at Dundee University. Next step, last 3 years. So we've given this context of where you are right now, and then when we kind of want to know where you've come from. So for some of you, this could be another degree or secondary school, but it just shows your academic journey or your journey to where you are now. Originally from China, I studied chemistry at Nanjing University, where I finished 3rd in my class. I won several scholarships for my academic results. So next up is, what do you want to do next? And I really love putting this into presentations. So in the example, you see that Susan wants to work with GlaxoSmithKline, and she lays out 2 or 3 strong reasons why, namely being at the cutting edge of research, developing new skills, and helping people. Now, you don't have to do this part, but I find it really helps a lot to create a goal, particularly if you don't have an interview right now. So you might say, oh, actually, Mike, I'm interviewing for Deloitte tomorrow and I just want to get together a personal introduction for a senior colleague, as that's a really common question that comes up. Fine, just drop that. But if you're watching this and you're just thinking, how do I answer this question? Then this is a really good thing to do, because it sets a really clear goal for what you want. Step 4, work experience. You want to chronologically list out your jobs and choose the skills that matter for the job you are applying to. So it does require you to sort of understand the job description and the skills and experience and what that's all about. And I'm going to put a link in the description above just to explain to you about writing a cover letter, because I feel like that merges in really well when thinking about skills and experience. Now you can see from Susan's example, she's done quite a lot of stuff. She's had those 2 internships at Chinese drug companies. But what you'll notice is she's really just focused in on 3 skills, namely sales, teamwork, and client work. She's choosing the skills that she feels like her employer is going to want her to have. Now, this is quite a delicate art, and one thing that we're going to talk about shortly is that your first draft isn't going to be perfect. Don't worry about it. Get it down on paper, and then you can edit and tweak it as you go along, thinking about what is it that they want from me? What is me putting forward the best version of myself? And if you don't have any work experience, don't worry. Just move on to the next step, where you're going to talk a little bit more instead about your volunteering or your extracurricular activities. And a really brief side note, please don't leave off work experience like, I'm a waitress, I work in a supermarket. Sometimes I really don't understand why students feel a little bit self-conscious about putting on these part-time jobs. Honestly, for many years on my CV, I had my first job, which is that I used to make burgers at KFC. I thought it was a really great demonstration of my ability to work under pressure. I didn't care what people thought, and neither should you. That experience is valid and should go on there. So step 5 is voluntary or extracurricular activities. It's just like above. So we're really trying to pick out, what does this job want? Does it want teamwork, leadership, analytical skills, presentation skills, maybe making a list of 3 to 5 skills that are really important? And I can think, once we have those skills, it's really quite easy to think, well, where have I demonstrated leadership? Oh, I was part of this club, or, oh, we had this trip, or whatever. Instead of just thinking very vaguely about what people want. So you'll notice that Susan's bit in this, it's really just short. She's just talking about her time in China and really getting to the point as well and just quantifying that result, or showing someone says, oh, I'm good at sales. And it's like, what does that mean? How much did you sell? Another pro tip. Everyone's story is different. Don't get too caught up in the example or what other people are doing. It's just about you and putting your best foot forward and knowing that you do have experience. And it's not about is it relevant, it's about whether you make it relevant in terms of how you explain it. Step 6, skills and interests. Now, this is the opportunity to talk about the languages that you speak, technical skills you might have, whether that be something to do with coding or Adobe or different types of software that you can use depending on your background. It could just be the fact that you're really good at Microsoft Office, and also a little bit about your interests and your hobbies. Just a single line just to humanize you, really just to show that there is a little bit more to you than just outside of work. And finally, on to step 7. I always like candidates to end with a bit of a curiosity hook or something that's going to make people think, wow. So you may not have that wow, but you might have a curiosity hook. So here Susan basically talks about playing the guzheng. I think about this a lot because of my background as a copywriter as well. So I'm always thinking people are really only going to remember the first things that you say and the last thing. So in the last thing, I want to put something in there that's going to make people go, oh, like, what is a guzheng? What does that mean? And start to open up and have some easier conversation. So there you have it. That's the 7 simple steps. Don't forget, get that worksheet downloaded, write it out yourself. And guys, don't obsess about getting it right, copying my example, or copying the example in the worksheet. Just get it done, start practicing, editing, and speaking it out loud as soon as you can, because that's what's important. Which bit did you struggle with the most? Drop a comments down below and let us know what you think. Just remember, there is no perfect answer. There's just an answer which is ideal for you. And as soon as possible, get that draft done, start practicing out loud. And I really recommend, even if you're watching this now and you're thinking, holy crap, I've got an interview tomorrow, what do I do? Don't worry about it. Get that answer done, run it through 3 times, and you're going to be so much better than if you had no preparation. So lastly, as promised, I want to share with you what I've kind of observed through hundreds of different repetitions where I see candidates go wrong. And there are 2 things for this. Firstly, is a lack of preparation. Very often I see candidates, clients, interviewees that I have observed and either interviewed or sat on the interviews just basically think, well, tell me about yourself. It can't be that difficult. But when you limit the time and you think about the fact that this is in a professional context, lack of preparation is so easily avoidable. Don't be lazy. Even if you're just going to write a simple script and just go through it 3 times, it's going to make a massive amount of difference. And that brings me on to the second thing, which is maybe you just lack confidence. So I want to big up all of the introverts watching this. I still consider myself an introvert. I don't particularly like big crowds of people. I prefer working one-on-one with people or with a small group, whether that be my friends or in a work context. So I really understand where you're coming from. So what I'd say to you is preparation is still key, and saying, well, actually, I don't feel confident. You can work through that, but you need to do something about that. And you can start off really slowly, which is start off by speaking with yourself, then speaking in front of the mirror, then recording yourself, then watching yourself back, and finally maybe having a video chat with a friend, or just having that kind of dynamism and putting that into what you're doing. And you'll find that over time it will get better as long as you put the actions in. If you like this video, click like, subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when new videos come out, and please drop us a comment down below and let us know what's the next question you would like us to cover in the Awesome Answers series. Good luck.